Welcome to this video on the state of 3.18 PTU as of patch 835.6208, which got released on February 2nd, and also covering the BTR buggy track racing over on Orison, showing you how to get there. Right off the bat, this is Orison Station at the Augusta Dunlow Spaceport, and it takes you to the Vision Center, which is an area set up for IAE and other major events. Now, what is interesting in this other clip here I just put up, it shows you that there is a situation where if you see a countdown timer at 0 and there's no shuttle showing up for the Vision Center when you're testing in PTU, switch servers. So I had to switch from the NA servers over to the EU servers because it kept putting me back on the same server. So I said, okay, that's fine. I went over to EU and everything worked out. This is pretty interesting, the flight characteristics of this flight, if you haven't been around for IAE or other major events in the Orison area. It's pretty neat. I should say Fleet Week. Fleet Week was when they had the Javelin and stuff. That was really the amazing stuff for Orison. And this flight and the shuttle is itself actually kind of interesting. It has some dynamic shots here. If you hit the F4 key and you get to the external camera, you could do some pretty cool shots here and really kind of get some interesting shots, especially at sunset, I would say, and other times. A topic for another day, maybe. So let's talk a little bit about the 3.18 patch while we're riding along here. Some of the other testing focuses were salvage for hull scraping alongside the Drake Vulture, of course. Some new crash sites, including the really cool crashed out 600i I'm hoping to get some video of soon. And that might actually become a relic with the Golden Pass coming up for the 600i Explorer and Touring coming up, where you can venture into the back of a 600i and it's going to hopefully stay the classic design. That would be pretty cool. There is new sand caves, which I have yet to find out about, just being honest. A whole bunch of new rivers on Hurston and also on Microtech, and a bunch of derelict outposts. And starting to rework the restricted areas and all the rules on that. You see in my previous PTU, 3.18 PTU video, some issues with those rules. Basically having a fine and takes away your ship and pounds it and such, and then a fine on your person for trespassing. Hopefully with more and more restricted areas, changes coming up, it becomes more of a mature process and has more warnings and such. And it was brought up in the comments on that video because I was hit the F4 key and I was externally viewing and such. I would have seen in the HUD a warning that I was entering restricted area. And I do agree with that, but my position is that those restricted areas need to be far smaller. I hope to see in the new Loreville, even with all the control necessary of Hurston Dynamics and the family that is Control Freaks is a fair assessment, I hope to see much smaller restricted areas, especially if they expect players to be landing on the buildings. I got Orison on the mind, and running missions and such. Having these razor-thin areas that you can and cannot fly, especially when there's no players underneath you, it's kind of pointless. You can see here that the buggy track racing has some cool new stuff, and Incred Fun Adventures is the ones who are running it in the lore. I have not heard much about Incred Fun yet, but you can be sure that when 3.18 goes live, I'll be covering that as well, trying to see some of those things. If you look at the Orison Vision Center is still mentioned in all this. And one of the interesting things, I don't know if this is going to be like this on the final, but you can see the F7A Hornet papers on the sides here, like the billboards, so to speak, of the F7A and other kinds of ships, all part of Fleet Week. And then this is actually the lobby from Fleet Week. And one of the fun things is you can see the shirt stands that normally sell different manufacturer shirts are available for purchase. And the NPCs were acting a little weird on this server, but you got to remember it is PTU. I'm sure that'll be ironed out by live, or at least it'll be a lot less likely. You'll see that the back of this kiosk area that I'm checking out now does not have the bomber jackets from the Invictus Fleet Week that a lot of people like. So sorry to get your hopes up. Maybe if they leave these sections in here, and with the same merchandise. Maybe they will add in some kind of collectible on the back end. Maybe a racing jacket or something would be neat. And it is also possible that they might just leave Greycat merchandise inside that area. And you can see me here trying to talk to the representative of Crusader Industries here. I don't know if this is going to stay a Crusader rep, especially because Incredible Fun Adventures probably would have their representatives in here as well. So I don't know. But you can see where these walking in place AIR NPCs are. You can see that there is no jackets. Expo lobby, you can see right there on the elevator. And then when you go inside, it shows convention hall. Because the racing area is actually inside this huge structure. So the elevator whisks us over to the convention hall. Now remember, there's up to 2 convention halls in the traditional facility during these large events, because each manufacturer or group of manufacturers has a different day. But in this case, this entire hall has been retrofitted to basically feel like a car show, you know, like a big high-end car show. And I did appreciate the hologram being rerouted to show the Greycats in a racing configuration. I think it's a pretty cool backdrop. And it is interesting, though, that players will have to fly over here from, reminder, Augusta Dunlow, just in case you jumped ahead, the Augusta Dunlow Spaceport. So if you spawn in the Vision Center, if you spawn at Cloud View, where your hab is, you would get on the shuttle to take you over to Augusta Dunlow Spaceport, so the Spaceport line, and then you would take the 3rd space in that bottom area, right where you get off the shuttle. Don't even go inside the Spaceport. You're going to go on the Vision Center line. And if it says 000, switch servers, you'll find it. I think on the live server, once again, the shuttles will probably be more consistent. I didn't see any issues with the large event shuttles when they're running before this. So it is interesting in previous builds. So you can see BTR is heavily, you know, covered all over this. A lot of these stands where they have this advertising, not the stuff on the ceiling, but the stuff on the ground, was actually some of the same spots from the large event coverage, from the convention hall coverage. And you can see they also have the stands of the food and drink, like beverages and the food and such, just like before. And just like before, the employees don't want to do a little bit of response there. You can see I'm coming around the side here trying to talk, but then I realized it's actually highlighting the food. Sometimes I get excited because I really want to see some more NPCs that can do transactions, and I think that's some of the basis of the game, when it really feels like it's going to be lived in and really feel like it's got that depth. You can see here the racetrack map. So spoilers, if you wanted to leave it as a surprise. And you can see the parked Greycats is over where those little hash symbols are at number 3. And then the track is huge. The track has jumps. The track has a tunnel. I am not going to make it around the whole track, just so you're aware. The Greycats have been tuned in 3.18. And they just feel like they've made them faster. This is an observation area, by the way, that also has additional maps. So if you don't want to participate, you can be up here and see most of the action. You can see how large this facility is. It's the full convention hall, the main hall anyway, not the side areas as far as I understand. But you can see just the sheer scale of this place. It'll be kind of cool to see maybe things like that crane doing little obstacle builds and stuff. That'd be fun in the future. So I think this has a lot of potential. The only question mark for me is how they're going to handle this if they decide to bring a large event like IAE or Fleet Week back to the Vision Center. Will they be able to leave this up and then also create new convention hall spawns, so to speak, through that elevator system, and they not impact each other? I think they can. I think that's what this is secretly trying to do. This is my speculation. But I think you can see the little winner circle here for 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, there's no tie-in yet, if there is going to be, but it's fun to see, and it's fun to have. It could be great for pictures. But anyway, back to, I think that this is possibly a way to test not persistent hangars, but the same kind of concepts of having multiple areas that are elevator access, that are maybe instance based even, that allow you to have a large on that server racetrack going on with maybe 8 people racing each other, and literally hop on a different shuttle and it whisks you away to a different area where it doesn't have to load in that huge area full of buggies, and instead it's Anvil Day at IAE or something, or Fleet Week. So I'd be interested to see if they can do that. I think they can. And I think that's one of the more interesting things. I found a lot of parts for ships, the vehicles all around. I don't know if that was for looks, or if my other thought was possibly these Greycats keep exploding occasionally, and then when they respawn, they blew their wheels off. I think it's a glitch. And the wheels are actually there. You can see that the little window is there. If you hold down F and do the scroll wheel just like usual, you can see that you actually can play with the menus. And there is no need to access like an ATC or something like you're at a spaceport. I have driven these Greycats since the beginning of their existence. I had one back in the hangar module, and I used to spend a lot of time messing around with it, especially when they added the jump ramps and stuff. And I can say that this thing, they did something to it. It doesn't feel like a Greycat anymore, a Greycat PTV. It over and understeers like crazy. It is interesting that it can flip itself over, but it can right itself to a certain extent. I think there's like some kind of weight. They did something to the wheels where the weight is in the wheels. You spin the wheels and it auto rights itself until it doesn't later on in this video, just in a few seconds. And I just feel like it doesn't really work well. I tried really, really hard to try to get a bit of time in it. I think with time, I will be able to start adjusting my expectations for this vehicle. It feels a lot like if you play GTA Online, one of those small cars with the turbo. Like it just has this weird ramp up of speed that it didn't used to have, and then it wants to, soon it has a different steering profile when it gets faster. I hope they tune this up a little bit and tune down the sensitivity of the steering. This is me trying to fiddle with the engine and see maybe I can make it less acceleration, more acceleration by adjusting the power triangle, but you cannot adjust it at this time. It's possible it's locked. But yeah, so your real options are engage systems, engine on, engine off, and that's about it. But it is neat to see that they still left it as a working system. That's me trying to screw around with it and see if I can overclock things and move the power triangle. So anyway, yeah, moral of the story here, very interesting, cool to explore. One more thing to see. Grab the shuttle from the Augusta Dunlow Spaceport directly over to the Vision Center, and this is where you'll find the action. And I would say that one of the big changes in this specific patch that I want to alert everybody to is that if you Alt F4 while you're wearing armor, weapons, etc., there is a high chance you will not have that stuff when you respawn. So when you come back into the server, your stuff will probably be right where you died, or more accurately, when you Alt F4'd. So just remember that. I don't know if they're tracking it based on Alt F4 specifically, or if it's just a disconnect with the server, because that's two completely different beasts. Obviously, I'm sure there's stuff running in the background that can detect whether the game crashed in it, in a good way or a bad way. And there's plenty of ways that can happen, whether you're just a router just disconnected for 30 seconds or something. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work out. I've been fortunate where I haven't had to test that yet, but in the future I probably will as we get deeper and deeper into this 3.18 PTU, which by the way is on wave 2 now if you haven't heard. So it's nice to see more people can actually jump in here and see what's going on. And yeah, some pretty interesting stuff. There is some pretty wild issues with these Greycats. Like you can see here, I ended up hitting a cone that was here, as far as I can tell, and the cone was just a perfect angle to flip it on its side. The Greycat's weighted wheels seem to allow you to turn it side to side to spin it on itself when it's flipped over like turtle up, so to speak. But when it's sideways, it does not seem to be able to right itself, at least when it's pitched against a wall. If you hold down Y like normal, you can climb out of the seat after I finally give up on trying to move the dang thing anymore. But then you're stuck on the map, the track, It doesn't respawn you standing next to the track again, like I honestly think it should. And I think there should be in this comm link an ability to get you out of here. Like if you hit that F button and it's like an I'm stuck button or something, like call attendant of adventure rides, invent rides, and you just hit that button and bam, you and the Greycat spawn back at the beginning. You get a penalty on your lap if there is tracking. You can see me here in the decoration. Like I literally fell through the wall. But yeah, really weird situation. And I could see, you know, especially how aggressive people are treating it like Mario Kart or something. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be walking around, and then they're risking getting hit by other players. These cones really need to be pulled from the map if they're going to cause that much of a problem all the time. Or maybe they're just fun obstacles. If there was a way to right the vehicle when it's on its side, of course, in every circumstance. So yeah, this is a fun little, I guess, rough cut of what 3.18 looks like. The Vision Center revamped into a buggy ride location. Want to thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. To my long subscribers, thank you for sticking around. And as always, enjoy yourselves, get into that PTU, and have your adventures. And be sure to drop me a line if you do. Have a good one.